Hi class, my name's Vanessa. I just wanted to dive into it. I just think that we all go through a lot as individuals, as college students. We're overwhelmed with school, we're overwhelmed with our outside of life, maybe our job. I know for instance for me, I'm a full time student and I juggle two jobs. So it's very, very like mentally, depressing sometimes. And sometimes I don't always have the time, to go, you know, to a clinic and set an appointment for therapy. I don't really have insurance like that. I don't really know what's people's situation on that. But me, I think that it would be a great idea, like, just the fact that there's people like me who don't always have the time, but who don't really focus so much on their mental health. I would say that, schools or college in general should provide, a course requirement where we get college credit and we have to take therapy. And, because therapy is very important, to just sometimes not always, we can always just talk to a friend or, a family member. I think it'd be very important have that to have that opportunity to for us to just focus not only on our classes and what we're going outside on life, but focus also on our mental health. I will bring up this peer review. Just these numbers are very insane. I would say that 87% of the students reported that they felt overwhelmed and they or depressed, and there's 56% where they're facing traumatic experiences. Imagine that 56% just facing those traumatic events, and what tools are they using to help them go through these struggles in life, through these hardships in life. So, this is where we can also utilize not just therapy, but we can also use therapy dogs as in for example. So what is exactly a therapy dog? Well, a therapy dog is not a service dog. It's not that like how they help you cross the street, or they're more in the aspect of when things are very overwhelmed in your life at that moment, they are trained to help you, to guide you in a more calmer situation, so that way you're not feeling overwhelmed. And some of us who do have anxiety, I know some of us had opened up about how we have anxiety, and sometimes we have other mental, I would say, mental disorders as well. Like some of us may be very shy, not very social, or and it just causes us to be more like very secure within ourselves. And I think that with therapy can help you. We can utilize that tool if they had it in schools, because not, like, again, not all of us have that opportunity just to go and set an appointment with our therapist. We don't always have that opportunity. But if it was a requirement and we had to, I think it'd be a great opportunity, because not only we are focusing on the stuff that we need as being a college student or outside, but we're also focusing on our mental health to get us through what we need to get through at the end of the day. Also, I did want to talk about, there was a study basically where they did rock climbing, and that rock climbing program only was based on students that went, who wanted to experience, what it was like to do rock climbing in that program, because that program really helped you, not only just, because of physically, when we're going out physically, we're physically, doing something and we're getting, distracted easily, in a good way though. But this was more in a program where these students will join the program and they would, I'm sorry, they would like reflect on themselves. So they would journal, they would have all these activities for them that's self-reflecting, which I think is very, very important. So, we always want to like make sure that we are always reflecting on what we throughout our experiences, because sometimes writing it down or journaling is just going to help in general. And so for that, I would say that, it's only if you really want help, it's only if you really want help, and it's a tool that's gonna help you where, you know sorry, where you want, so most definitely, yeah, I would say, just going back to it, I would say that just because of all of us college students, we should take the opportunity to take advantage of this therapy, but not all of us have the time to do it, so it's understandable. But if it was a requirement, I think we should, you know we should take the class, we should take the course, so that way we're able, not only we're getting credits, but we're able to help ourselves in our mental health. But yeah, so